Good late afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Sage, you're watching 𝐊𝐴𝐼𝐼 TV live from Sydney. And this is the last show of the day, the last trade. And there's no better way to wind down the day than with today's market close commentary. And in today's show, we'll take a look at the overall ASX 200's performance of the day, and we'll also explore the gainers and the losers. We'll take a look also at some of the details of the companies that were in the news today. And in the last segment, we'll look at the Asian share market's performance and we'll see why the cryptocurrency space is trending. So let's dive straight in. The Australian share market closed marginally higher in a choppy trade on Monday, led by late buying in the consumer discretionary tech, utilities and telecom stocks. The equity market staged a smart recovery in the last few hours of the day's trade on hopes that the Reserve Bank may delay the tapering of its economic stimulus at its monthly meeting on Tuesday. The market analysts expect the central bank to pause its taper in the wake of a deterioration in the economic outlook due to the resurgence of COVID-19 cases. The ASX 200 closed 5.60 points higher. Earlier today, the index opened sharply lower and declined as much as 1.1% to hit a low, weighed down by the ex-dividend companies. The market breadth indicating the overall strength of the market was weak as 6 of 11 sectors ended in the red zone. The energy sector emerged as the worst performer with a 2.1% loss owing to a fall in the crude oil prices, and the price of the Brent crude dropped 0.6% a barrel and the US oil fell 1% per barrel. The energy sector was followed by materials, which dropped 1.4% despite a rise in the iron ore prices, and the iron ore prices improved by 1.2% a tonne after reporting a sharp slump last week. The sell-off in the materials space was led by Fortescue Metals, while the index heavyweights, BHP Group and Rio Tinto, also closed lower. Let's take a look at the top gainers and losers of the day now. International student placement service provider IDP Education topped the gainers list by rising 4.35%, and some of the other top performers were software firm Appen, alumina and bauxite producer Alumina, gold miner Evolution Mining and e-retailer Redbubble. On the flip side, iron ore miner Fortescue Metals emerged as the top loser with 11% loss. Some of the other top laggards were the healthcare firm Pro Medicus, realty firm Lendlease Group and the miner Pilbara Minerals, as well as the real estate investment manager Cromwell Property. And now let's look at the shares that were in the news today. And first up, we have the blue chip miner Fortescue Metals, who emerged as the top loser on the ASX pack by falling as much as 11% as the stock turned ex-dividend today. The world's fourth largest iron ore miner had set September 7th as the record date for dividend payments, while the payment date is 30th September 2021. The company in its earnings release on the 29th of August announced to pay a final dividend of $2.11 Australian per share, up from just $1 Australian a share last year. Next on the newsmakers is 𝐊𝐴𝐼𝐼 Healthcare and Wellness REIT made a stellar debut on the ASX today, rising as much as 15%. And the fund manager Home Consortium's Real Estate Investment Trust had raised 650 million Australian dollars at $2 Australian a share, which was the second largest initial public offering of this year. Now, this is the first healthcare property trust which got listed on the domestic exchange, and this is the third IPO in 3 years by the fund manager Home Consortium, after the listings of Home Consortium in October 2019 and HomeCo Daily Needs REIT in November 2020. Well, it's time for a short break, but stay with me as I'll be back with more of the trending updates.
Tune in to stay updated while on the move.
We will tell you where the crypto craze has reached,
where the property market is headed next,
what the world is doing to become more environmentally friendly,
apart from tracking the daily market charter.
Be on top of the latest news and announcements.
with 𝐊𝐶 TV.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. This is Sage, and you're watching the market closing commentary by 𝐊𝐶 TV. Let us now take a look at some more of the news. And the mining and civil construction services provider NRW shares tumbled 5.5% following a business update. The company's wholly owned subsidiary Golding Contractors has inked a 5-year contract extension with Southern Cross Fertilisers for its Phosphate Hill operation. The mining contract at Phosphate Hill will be valid till 6th September 2026, while its value is estimated to be between 110 to 120 million Australian dollars over the term. And the next newsmaker. Shares of Hansen Technology plunged 15% to hit an intraday low after BGH Capital withdrew its non-binding acquisition proposal. The software and services company, in an ASX filing, said that Australian private equity firm BGH has decided to withdraw its unsolicited proposal to acquire Hansen. And BGH Capital had proposed to acquire all of the outstanding shares in Hansen by the way of a scheme of arrangement for a price of $6.50 Australian cash per share. And moving on to the next, the share price of Magellan Financial Group dropped as much as 2.6%, down to $42.73 Australian after the company issued an update on funds under management for August. The global equities-focused investment management firm has reported 0.3% growth in retail funds under management at 31.5 billion Australian dollars. The institutional funds under management rose 1% to reach 86.4 billion Australian dollars. And meanwhile, the global equities grew by 0.6% to 88.5 billion Australian dollars. Infrastructure equities surged by 1.3% to 19.8 billion Australian dollars, and the Australian equities climbed by 1.3% to reach 9.6 million Australian dollars. Also making the news, Premier Investments shares slipped as much as 2% after the company said that Richard Murray had commenced his new role as the Chief Executive Officer. Murray joined the office a month ahead of the scheduled time, and the former CEO of JB Hi-Fi was expected to begin his new role on the 4th of October. As per the company, all other material terms of his employment with Premier, as disclosed in the release dated 28th April, remains unchanged. And shares of Washington H. Soul Pattinson also made the news, falling nearly 4%, even after the investment firm expects to report robust earnings in the 2021 financial year. The company anticipates its net profit after tax to be nearly doubled, reaching 336 million Australian dollars compared to 170 million Australian dollars in the prior year. The key drivers of the company's growth are the capital value of the portfolio, growing yield and strong earnings contributions from its group companies, New Hope, Brickworks and Round Oak. The company is expected to release its full year results on the 23rd of September 2021. And also making the news, shares of natural beauty company BWX rose over 2%, pairing the opening loss after it issued an update on the acquisition of Flora and Fauna. The company said that it had finalised the total consideration paid for its acquisition of Flora and Fauna, a leading Australian-curated online retail platform exclusively focused on vegan, ethical and sustainable products. In May this year, BWX had announced to buy Flora and Fauna for a price between 27.9 million Australian dollars to 30.8 million Australian dollars based on the calculation of Flora's actual financial year 2021 revenue. And the company now confirmed it has paid 28.1 million Australian dollars for the acquisition. And the next big news comes in from Suncorp Group, whose shares rose 0.5% after Suncorp Bank ventured into the buy now, pay later space in association with Visa, the global leader in digital payments. The bank is offering a new interest-free BNPL product which can be used to make payments via physical and digital Visa debit cards. The BNPL offering will be available for minimum purchases of $50 Australian and higher, which will be split into 4 fortnightly instalments. The service will be rolled out for Suncorp customers from November through the Suncorp app. And lastly, the share price of Pinnacle Investment Management dipped over 1% despite announcing underwritten dividend reinvestment plan. The company said the DRP for the financial year 2021's final dividend will be fully underwritten and the funds raised will be primarily used to acquire a further 10% of Coolabah Capital Investments, taking PNI's stake to 35% in the company. The dividend reinvestment plan applies to the 17 cents per share final dividend declared for the year ended 30th June 2021. And we've reached the time for a short break, but stay with me as I'll be back with more of the trending updates from the Asian markets performance, and we'll also discuss the cryptocurrency space. Property by 𝐊𝐴𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞. Looking for a dream home? Well, that may sound easy, but it isn't. And from looking for a property that is the right fit for you in terms of cost and other factors, to zeroing down on the right mortgage plan, there are various aspects to consider. And for the latest lowdown on the property market, tune in on 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV with me, Sage. I will give the latest updates on the property market as well as real estate stocks to help you make the right decision. Keep watching Property with 𝐊𝐴𝐚. Hello, welcome back. Sage here. You're watching the market closing commentary by 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV. And now let us take a look east towards the Asian market performance. Shares in Asia Pacific region were trading mostly higher on Monday, with Japan's Nikkei leading the rally for the second session. Investors also reacted to the weak US payrolls data, which may prompt the Federal Reserve to maintain its ultra-loose monetary policy as the economic front remains in a fragile state. And Japan's Nikkei emerged as the best performer in the region, rising 1.8%. This followed over 2% rally on Friday amid the reports that the Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga would resign this month. The market extends the gains amid hopes that a new Prime Minister would increase fiscal stimulus. In a similar trend, mainland Chinese stocks were also in an upbeat mood, with the Shanghai Composite gaining over 1% and the Shenzhen component adding over 2%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index was also up 0.5%. The rally in the Chinese market was driven by speculation that Beijing would also be adding stimulus through fiscal and monetary policy. The Straits Times Index in Singapore traded higher by 0.3%, while Taiwan's weighted index gained 0.25%. India's BSE Sensex also rose 0.2% in the opening deals. Bucking the trend, South Korea's Kospi dipped 0.3% and Indonesia's Jakarta Composite fell 0.25%. Thailand's SET Composite also traded marginally lower. Moving on now to the US, and Wall Street closed lower on Friday as disappointing jobs reports raised concerns about the pace of the economic recovery. However, a weak labour market argued well for the market as it may delay the near-term stimulus tapering. The Dow Jones ended 0.21% lower, while the S&P 500 dropped 0.03%, and the tech-savvy Nasdaq Composite gained 0.21%, driven by technology heavyweights, including Apple, Google and Facebook. The markets in the US are closed on Monday for the Labor Day holiday. And now we've reached the last leg of the show, and in this segment we'll take a quick look at the crypto markets performance. The major cryptocurrencies traded higher during the Asian trading hour on Monday amid the growing demand from institutional investors. The digital coins have witnessed sustained rallies after El Salvador approved the acceptance of Bitcoin as legal tender. And adding optimism to the market, Binance, the world's largest exchange, has proposed to launch initial public offering of its US affiliate within 3 years. The price of Bitcoin, the world's largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization, was currently trading 3%. The most popular currency breached the crucial 50,000 US dollar level on Sunday and is up around 79% this year. In a similar trend, Ether, the world's second largest crypto, was also up 1.5%. And meanwhile, Cardano, the third largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization, rose 2%, while Dogecoin prices climbed 4% to 31 US cents. Among others, Stellar, Uniswap and Litecoin also saw surges in buying. And hopefully that's been informative for you, but that is all for now in the last trade, and we shall see you tomorrow as close as possible to 9:30 a.m. Sydney time. Sage signing off.